Duncan is the grumpiest engine on the narrow-gauge railway. He grumbles about his work, his paint, the coaches, even the other engines. "Maybe you need more sleep," suggested Rusty.
"I'd get more sleep if you lot didn't snore away all night,"
Duncan retorted, and he puffed away. "Impudent engine," Duke grumbled,
"complaining about this and that. It simply would not suit his grace."
"Never mind, Grandpuff," soothed Peter Sam. "Duncan isn't so bad, really."
"Oh? When is he not so bad, really?"
Peter Sam fumbled for a moment, then suddenly remembered his train and set off. During the summer, a party of scouts set up camp in tents along the line. They were very busy arranging things, but were never too busy to wave at the engines as they went past. "They've come for their annual camp," explained Duncan's driver. "It's a sort of holiday for them. Their leader has been to see the chief workman, and he says that the boys can work on the railway for us."
"Sounds a funny sort of holiday to me,"
remarked Duncan. "Lots of people do it," said the driver. "The scouts are going to help us. You know that place by the top station where the ditches are bad and we have to be careful? Well, the scouts are going to put that right for us." The engines were pleased. They didn't like having to slow down there in wet or frosty weather. It was anything but frosty at present. Each day the sun shone, and it got hotter and hotter. Too hot even for vacationers to lie on the beach. Every train was full. The scouts were hot too. They rested thankfully as trains passed, but their cheerful waves grew wearier as time went on. On the final day of their camp, Duncan toiled up the hill with the last train. He was looking forward to a rest under the trees at the top station. As Duncan neared the place where the scouts were working, he whistled to warn them he was coming. Then he saw a figure beside the line approaching the train. "Steady on, Duncan," said his driver, applying the brakes. "It looks as though the scouts leader wants to talk to us." Duncan gently came to a stop, and the scouts leader stepped up to his cab. "Is anything wrong?" the driver asked. "Not yet," replied the leader, "but I'm afraid there might be unless the boys get a drink. Can you drop off some pop or something when you next pass, please?" "No problem," replied the driver. "I'll see the refreshment lady when we reach the top station." But when they got there, the driver came back from the refreshment room looking glum. "Not a bottle to be had," he moaned to Duncan. "Everyone's as thirsty as those boys, so now what?" Duncan didn't know. He thought so hard that he began to feel thirsty himself. Then, suddenly, an idea came to him.
"Isn't there a shop at the station by the lake?" he said. "Perhaps the lady there could—"
"Of course," interrupted the fireman. "We'll leave the coaches here while Duncan brings something to the boys. We can just get back here before the train is due to leave, but we must be quick." While the station master telephoned to warn the shop lady, Duncan set off. The shop lady met them at the station. "I haven't much myself," she said, "but the lads are welcome to what there is." A little later, the scouts heard a whistle, and Duncan puffed into sight. He stopped beside them, and the driver handed down the drinks. The scouts cheered him. "Oh, don't thank me," he said. "It was Duncan's idea." So they cheered again and thanked Duncan instead. The manager came to see Duncan. "The scouts leader said you helped them a lot today. Good work, Duncan."
"It's only right," said Duncan simply. "They're helping us. We ought to help them as well."
Yes, Duncan has a good heart deep down. But he enjoys complaining too, and if the other engines ever found out, they would expect it all the time.